it's Uncle John from Uncle John's Farms here in Center Point, Indiana, and the other day we made a video about our mobile chicken house. Well, I'm calling my egg mobile. We're making it out of a old hay wagon that we had no use for. In fact, it had been sitting in a storage shed taking up space that we could use for other things. So I brought it into the garage today because the weathers went from like 70, 75 degrees yesterday to like 50 today, and we've got some storms getting ready to move in. Now, I'm not going to be able to build the sidewalls on this today. We're just going to put the floor in because we're inside the garage, but it kind of gets me out of the rain, and at least I can get that much done. So I thought I'd bring you along and, pretty much just show you how we're going to put the floor in. Well, because we're working on a chicken, kind of egg mobile, everything doesn't have to be perfect. We went ahead and bought some new hardware cloth. I've got it all unwrapped. Want to make mention, if you do a lot of work with hardware cloth or chicken wire, get yourself one of these electric staple guns. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of effort. The main thing we want to do right now as we get started is make sure the hardware cloth is even on the front side as well as we're going long ways down the wagon. And that's fairly easy to do. We're just going to line everything up. And because this wagon isn't quite square, there's going to be some give and take on this. Once we get it where we want, we're going to start stapling this down. And I like to put several staples on the end. Now we'll have to probably come back with a hammer and tap these on down because this is native lumber, so it's very hard. We're going to make sure that we're going to be lining up right as we go down here. And what I'll do is I'll only put a couple in down there so I can still have some movement, and then we'll bring it up here and we'll tack it in so that everything's squared up. Also, wear gloves, especially leather gloves. If you're working with this wire or chicken wire, it'll save your hand from getting cut up. And I bought enough on this roll to do both sides, and I'll show you a quick trick on how to cut this when we get down here towards the end. But we just want to go ahead and lay this floor out, because see, as we're going, it's getting farther away from the side. Now, when you get to the end, you can just drop it over the edge so that the big roll is not in your way. And we're going to go along here and make sure that our side is as far over as we can give it. And here again, it's not square, so we may have some issues as we go along. But like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think what we'll do is we'll just go along the side here and tack it down to hold it to one side. That way we can kind of work it as we go. Like I say, we'll come back and tack these staples on down. Well, as I go down through here and I'm just tapping these staples in, making them more secure, I noticed there's a little give right here at the edge. One thing I worry about when the chickens are out on pasture is raccoons and possums getting up and getting the chickens. So the more I get thinking about this, the more I think I'm going to run just some little 2x4 spacers along the sides, so that I can go back through and staple them in as well. It's going to cost me a little bit more for the lumber, but it gives me peace of mind, because there's some places that are big enough that I think a raccoon could literally start pulling the flooring out in order to get up and get the chickens. If you got chickens out on pasture, whether they're in chicken tractors or something like this, you want to make sure that you take every precaution at keeping those chickens safe. So it's going to cost me a little more money, a little more time, but it'll give me peace of mind. Well, as you can see, we've got it all stapled down to the end, and we're going to cut the hardware cloth so that we can make the other run on the other side. Because Uncle John's get old, and as we get older, we get lazier, several years ago, I bought these electric tin snips, and they make cutting stuff like this, tin, hardware cloth, chicken wire, make it a lot better on me. So basically, this back section is going to be storage for food and other supplies for the chickens. So we don't have to be really perfect here, because there's actually going to be a piece of plywood laid over the top of this that will set supplies on. So the actual chicken egg mobile will only come to about right in here on this beam. So we don't have to be real perfect, but we still want to make it look nice. See how easy that is for you guys that's ever used those old tin snips? You wouldn't be going this fast. Main thing is don't stand on your cord either. And we'll also be using these when we do the roof, cutting the metal for the roof. Now, the last thing we need to do before we start on the other side, there's a little gap here. So we're just going to kind of pound that down in there, kind of make that shape. And now we'll come through and staple that down. If you're thinking about building a garage, here's just a side note. I would make sure you put plenty of outlets in. As you can see, I have to share an extension cord from the front of the garage to plug in equipment. One of these days, Uncle John will get busy and we'll put more outlets in here. Alright, we'll pound these in just to make sure they're good and tight. And we're off to the next side. Well, as you can tell, we've got the second piece on and we're back down here at the end. All we've got to do is slice this off, go ahead and staple this back in, and then we'll move on to a different part of this project. Best tools you can buy.
sometimes it's a little hard because we have a 2x4 over here that we're having to get through. I like to try to make this cut as flush as possible. There we go. That's all we have left. Not really probably enough to do any sort of project, but I'm a hoarder, so we'll save it. Again, all we got to do is staple this down now. And we'll do just like before, where we'll mash it down into that little crevice back here. Okay, now because this side, the bar is out just a little bit, I don't want to get caught as I'm back here getting feed or whatever, supplies. So all you have to do is just take your hammer, just bend that down. That just keeps somebody from getting hurt. Or from getting your piece of your clothing caught on it. There we go. Now we're going to move over and start cutting those pieces of wood that I need to kind of put in between these members. Okay, so I've found some scrap 2x4s. I've pre-drilled a couple holes to fit these screws. What we're going to do is I'm going to start them in this 2x4 right now, and then I'll show you how to attach them and then how we can go ahead and attach and make the hardware cloth a little more secure. And like I say, the right tool for the right job. This is DeWalt impact driver. It works wonders on stuff like this. And this is just to sure up that, you know, no possums or coons or anything can get up in here. There's electric fence that goes around this. I'm not real worried about it, but I like peace of mind. Alright, so we got those started. And like I say, they don't have to be perfect. The chickens aren't really going to mind that much. We just want enough that we can staple this down to it. We'll even it back out just because I'm a little OCD. The tire's actually in the way back here, but that's all right. We can fix that. we'll get our staple gun. Make sure it's plugged in. It likes to come unplugged from that extension cord. Grab our hammer and just make sure these are packed all the way in. Now, when a raccoon or something tries to come up, like over here, it could actually come up through here. That's the reason I'm adding these. Now it's going to run into resistance. I'll probably add these on both sides, again, just for a little peace of mind. Well, as you can see, we've went ahead and placed all of these blocks in these low places where I thought that the raccoons or possums could crawl up. It's made this floor really sturdy. Again, this is going to be the floor for the chickens in their chicken house. The reason we use the hardware cloth is to let the drippings fall, and then we'll be moving this mobile egg mobile probably every week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how the pasture goes, but the chickens will be on new pasture at least every week, if not every 2 weeks. This is about all the time we have on this video for this. Because of the weather, it's raining outside, we're expecting some severe storms. I can't start building the sides of the roof to this because we have to move it out of the garage for that, because here again, it will be too tall to get out the garage door. So I took today, since it was raining, and decided I'd bring it in here and at least get the floor done. Well, we've got that project pretty much done for today, and Uncle John's decided he's going to take a rest. That's the nice thing about a garage, you know. You can stay dry when it's raining outside. You're still outside technically, but I always have the lawnmower that has the most comfortable seat to take my breaks in. In fact, I've been known to sit out here and doze off from now and then again. Anyway, I just want to remind you folks that participate in the SNAP program. We can take your EBT cards. We can take those PEBT cards. We can take your orders for those fresh chickens coming up in 2021. In fact, we've sold out our first order. I'm working on a second order, which will be ready in about September. If you'd like to order some, put them in your freezer. That's the best way to do it. And you can get a hold of us on our Facebook, or you can also order them online at UncleJohnsFarms.com. You know, one thing I want to leave you with today, no matter what we do out here on the farm, okay, we always kind of see how we can better the land, you know, make it better the way we found it. It's been in my family for a really long time, since 1863. I'd like to think that over the past couple of years that we've done a much better job at land management. But you know, you can do this in your own backyard. You don't have to have, you know, 10 acres, 20 acres. You don't have to have that. City yard would be fine. Most cities in the state of Indiana will let you keep, you know, 4 or 5 hens for egg laying purposes. You can also make those little chicken tractors that we use. I'd be glad to help you out with those. And you can set those in your backyard and have some butchering chickens of your own. Don't forget, we mow the grass every week. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to mow all that grass? We just kind of turned some of that sod up and we started planting some vegetables to take care of ourselves and our family. You know, you can do it. And seed is cheap and it'll grow a bunch of vegetables for you. Here's an idea too. Take the kids outside, plant a couple of fruit trees. You know, you'll get fresh fruit every summer. Little things that you can even do in the city. You know, if you want some help in learning how to do this, I'm always here. I'm always learning as well. You can hit me up at john@UncleJohnsFarms.com. You can also connect with me on our Facebook page as well. I'd love to help you. You know, that's what we're all here for, is to help each other. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for being a part of my video and helping me with our, you know, mobile egg mobile today. I want to thank you so much for being a part of my community. And you know what? I really do appreciate each and every one of you.